The QB battle heats up. Should we start Shedeur Sanders now or later? And our predictions for the schedule, as well as Shamar Stewart contract. All that and more in today's episode of Ski Sports. It is myself, Ski, and my co-host, Pinuski. It is June 15th, 2025. Let's bring the action. All right, let's start it off with the QB battle that is heating up. As we can see, the Flacco over the course of minicamp went 18 for 35 with 2 touchdowns. Sanders actually was the MVP of minicamp, went 41 of 53, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. You covered that in a different video, right?
Yeah, I covered most of these stats. Sanders, his 1 interception was bounced off the wide receiver's chest. So really, I'm not counting that interception in my personal playbook.
I feel like in general, wide receiver dropped interception should be a wide receiver stat, not a QB stat. I feel like Baker Mayfield in I don't know, what was that 2018, 2019, like led the league in interceptions that were off the hands of his wide receiver.
Yeah, I agree. I think it should be more of a wide receiver stat, but
Pickett went 38 of 63, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and Dylan Gabriel 48 of 83, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So how do you think that this QB battle is going to play out? Like, who do you think is going to win the starting job?
So I think Flacco has the starting job right now, and that's why he's getting the least amount of touches. But I believe right now it's a race between who the QB2 battle is between Pickett and Gabriel, because they just don't want to rush anything with Sanders, so they're keeping him back. And if the season were to start tomorrow, I think it would go Flacco is the first, Sanders is last, and I don't know who 2 and 3 would be.
Yeah, so I think really like there's 4 QBs, and people want to throw in Watson. Watson is not going to start ever again at Cleveland, regardless of what media wants to tell you. But there's really 4 QBs, right? But there's really like 2 QBs. And this is how I think it's like more a tiered system of like you have your veteran starting QB role, and then you have your rookies for the second team. And that, to me, is how it's going to go. And you have the battle between Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. That, to me, is who is going to start off the season. And then you have the rookies, and whoever wins that battle is going to be the second stringer. And I think that they're going to cut the loser of the QB battle, whichever is going to be Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco. They're going to cut the loser, and then it'll be whoever the winner is will be second stringer, and the loser of the QBs will be the third stringer. Although I actually don't think it's even that black and white with Sanders, because he has the most upside.
Yep.
All right, let's look at the Browns' schedule this year in 2025, and let's give our predictions. Let's go ahead and go week by week. So we have week number 1. Go.
So during week 1, we've got the Carolina Panthers for the preseason. I think this will be where we start to get a feel for who the real QB 1, 2, 3, and 4 is. And I think this game, being week 1 of the preseason, is actually going to have a lot more meaning than what it feels.
Yeah, because the Browns have been doing a lot tougher of a camp than previous years, and I think that this is a big knock that we've had on Kevin Stefanski, that he just kind of has these mini camps and these training camps that have not been very physical, and we haven't came out. It hasn't even showed up in the play, but I think that is important. So I do think this year, especially with the QBs and all the new rookies that we have, I do think that they're going to play a lot more starters in the preseason. But let's just skip ahead straight to the Cincinnati. But yeah, I think that we'll see a lot more starters in this year's preseason. So start off with Cincinnati. Do you think What do you think is your prediction?
Cincinnati always starts pretty slow, or at least they've started pretty slow for the past few years. And it's a home game. And historically, Joe Burrow does not perform against the Cleveland Browns. So I believe we will take the upset and start off 1-0.
Yeah, I think we're gonna beat the Bengals because Joe Burrow has a terrible record against the Bengals, and the Bengals start off very, very slow. We're going to talk about it later with their defense, but they don't have either one of their edge rushers right now, and their defense was terrible, even with their number one sack leader. I don't imagine how they're going to fare without them. What's next?
Week 2, we go to Baltimore. Hold on, pause that. So week 2, we go to Baltimore, and I think we won't be ready then. We'll still be dealing on who's where, and I think it'll be a close game. I say we'll probably lose under 10 points, but we'll probably lose and go 1-1.
Yeah, that'll be a smash mouth game. I have us losing there as well. Week 3.
Week 3, we host Green Bay, and this is a confusing one because they just got rid of Jair, and so they've got a good safety, but other than that, their secondary is questionable. So I think if we have the passing game, there's definitely a possibility we get out with the dub, but this will be a close one. So I want to say we go 2-1 right here.
All right, Green Bay, I think it's going to be tough. I think this is a loss. I think we're going to start out 1-2.
Week 4, we go to Detroit, and this is just plain and simple. I believe that this is a loss. Detroit is probably the most full team in the league, and I think if everybody's healthy, they're the best team in the league.
Okay, so week 5, we have I also have a loss there. I think Detroit is going to be very, very tough. So I have us starting out 1-3, and I think we'll get into this later, but I think Joe Flacco starts off the season here, and simply because I don't think, this is kind of a teaser for our next topic, but I don't think starting off the Cleveland Browns as QB number 1 is the prize that people think it is. I almost feel like they're throwing that person to the wolves, and that's why I think that they're going to hold off on Sanders minimum until we get back from London, bare minimum. But I do think that people are calling for Joe Flacco's job here, starting off 1-3. But I think that we go to London, get the win. Flacco holds off the starting job for a little bit longer. What are your thoughts on London? So 2-3 for me through week 5.
I have us going into week 5, 2-2. And really, this London game, it all depends on how well J.J. McCarthy performs. He's got a stacked roster around him. I love Aaron Jones. They've got the best wide receiver core in the league, debatably. And I think if J.J. is even just a top 20 quarterback, we more than likely lose that game. And I have us 2-3.
Okay. Now we go to Pittsburgh, week 6. I also have us 2-3. The Browns have not beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh in the regular season for a long time, and until they do that, I'm not going to predict that they do that. So I have us losing this 2-4, and I think that Joe Flacco loses his job here, and I think we would have preferred it to do until the bye week, but I think he loses his job here.
Yeah, I have to agree. I believe we'll split the series with everybody. I think we'll go 1-1 against everybody in the division. So I think this will be where we lose to Pittsburgh, and more than likely, I believe if Flacco is still healthy, will be, unless he's performing well, I think this will be where he loses his job.
All right, so Sunday, week 7 against the Dolphins. I actually have us bouncing back. We have a little bit of life with the new quarterback. We'll talk about who that's going to be later on. But the new quarterback brings a little bit of energy to the team. I think we get this one, and we are now 3-4, which is just one game under 500. which, compared to last season, really isn't that bad.
You know, or not Detroit. Miami is always kind of weird. In the past, like 5 years, they have seemed to have like our number. I think we're like 0-2 against them, which doesn't sound weird, but they have scored a lot of points against us. And I think it all depends on what their offense looks like. If they have Tyreek Hill and if they have Tua. But I think if they've got a full offense, I think we lose by double digits here, and I've got us at that is 2-5.
2-5. Okay, so I'll say too. The main reason why I think that this is a win for us is because it's the 19th of October, and if you've ever been to Cleveland, it is already cold by October. There's snow on the ground by October. So I'm predicting. Not only am I predicting the game, but I'm predicting it's going to be cold, and we know that Tua cannot do well, or he has not done well in the cold weather. So moving along to week number 8, I have us getting on a bit of a hot streak against the Patriots. Although I think the Patriots are going to be better this year, I think that we win this game and we even up the record at 4-4.
I think I agree. I believe that the Patriots are a lot better than everybody is writing off, but I think our D-line is going to be too much to handle for Drake May and that offensive line, and I believe we will have a bounce-back win against New England, and we are now 3-4.
No, you have us 3-5. I have us 4-4 here.
Oh, 3-5. Whoops.
All right, so going back to week 10 against the Jets, this one to me, we should win this game, but it feels like a stinker. So I'm going to give us a loss here, and we're going to be 4-5.
So going into week 10, I have the Cleveland Browns at 3-5, but I don't like this Jets O-line. I think our D-line is going to be the reason we win the most games, and I think Mason Graham and Myles Garrett, they're going to get to Justin Fields twice there, and I believe that we will get a bounce-back win and win by double digits there.
Okay, so week 11, I have us bouncing back from the stinkers. Kevin Stefanski is pretty good historically. Outside of last year, he is pretty good off of a loss. So I think, and Baltimore is home. I think that we're going to split with Baltimore. I predicted us losing earlier, so I think we bounce back, get the W at 425 in November, and even up our record at 5-5.
Yeah, I agree. We're decent whenever we come off a loss. Kevin Stefanski is underrated in that aspect. I think this will be one of those games where you don't really expect us to win, but we come out and we play well and we end up beating the Ravens. And I also have us at 5-5.
Okay, so then we're gonna be all hyped. We're gonna be in the playoff hunt here. Just a kind of a wild card. A sneaky team that you don't want to play, a smash mouth, run the ball, hard nosed football, and then we're gonna come out to the Raiders, and we're gonna lose this game. Whatever happens with the Raiders, it is always one of the weirdest games. It's on the road after a physical game against Baltimore. It's going to be another letdown game, a game that we should win, but we're not going to, and that'll put us at 5-6.
I agree. I think we'll come out week 12. We'll have this huge high, and every time we play the Raiders, it's always weird. It's a game that we should win, but we end up losing. And I believe the Raiders are going to be a lot better than what everybody's giving them credit for. I think they'll definitely be in a wild card hunt. So I believe we will lose this game and go on to 5-6.
Okay, and then again, the Kevin Stefanski theory, as well as I don't think the Niners are going to be that good. Week 13, I think we bounce back, come back home, and redemption ball. Myles Garrett again works Trent Richardson like he has in the past, and I think we even up our record again. 6 wins, 6 losses, back in the playoff hunt, looking prime at the easy part of our schedule to perhaps make a little bit of a playoff run as a sneaky team here.
I believe we are going to win this game, but for other reasons. The Niners lost 9 starters this year, I believe. I could be wrong by 1 or 2 players, but they lost a lot of starters, most of them on defense. I think we are just going to have an offensive upper hand on them, and we will squeak away with a field goal or less win.
Yeah. I don't think that the Niners are going to be good. Yeah, that's too much talent. Brock Purdy without the Avengers. Let's see what he does. I think that Brock Purdy's a decent quarterback, but I don't think he can you can carry everything around you. All right, moving forward, week 14. So we're 6-6. We're in the playoff hunt, and we're gonna come out against Cam Ward. It's gonna be a big time game. Emotions flaring everywhere, and I think we finally play well against the Titans. I don't think the Titans, even with Cam Ward, are going to be that good this year. So I think we're going to be 7-6. Not in the driver's seat for the division, but we're going to be in the driver's seat for the playoff hunt here. What are your thoughts on week 14?
I agree. I don't think the Titans are going to be horrendous, but they are definitely going to be a bottom 10 team. And I believe that we'll come in, we'll play well, and I think this will be the first time we have a positive record since winning week 1.
All right, and then we're going to go to the Bears, Chicago, flying high, feeling like we're in the driver's seat for the playoffs, and we're going to have a stinker, and we're going to lose this game. We're going to go back to 7-7, and we're not going to be in the driver's seat anymore. We're going to need some help. And then this will be probably our toughest game after that. So 7-7 for me through week 15. What do you think about the Bears?
I believe that everybody's writing the Bears off for being the Bears, but I believe in Caleb Williams. I think he's gonna prove himself as a good quarterback, and I think we're gonna go and we're gonna try our best, but I've got a feeling we're going to lose this game as well, and that puts me at 7-7 as well.
All right, and then week 16 against Buffalo. I think Buffalo is going to win here. It's kind of weird. It's going to be like at some point they're going to sit their starters, but they're not going to sit them for 3 weeks. So this is going to be an important win for them. They're probably going to be trying to lock up seed number 1. So I think that they're going to beat us. They're going to beat us pretty handily. This, to me, is probably the only blowout that we're going to have. I think that Buffalo beats us pretty handily here, and we're going to be on a bit of a losing streak, 2 losses in a row, and now we're going to be 7-8 through week 16.
Yeah, I agree. I think Buffalo is going to have a lot more on the line for this game, and they're just going to come in and they're going to play their best ball, and their best ball is a lot better than us. I think Josh Allen, he can lead any team to the number 1 seed. That's the kind of guy he is, and I think we lose this game.
All right, and then week 17 at home. Again, we already called this in the beginning, but I think we're going to split this. So I think the Browns bounce back, get the Steelers at home, and now we are 8-8. What do you think?
Yeah, it's almost a tradition. The only time we haven't beat the Steelers is when Hugh Jackson was our coach, and so I think this will be when we split it, and I have us at 8-8 going into week 18.
All right, 8-8 going into week 18. I imagine the Browns are going to need to win here, and they'll probably need a little bit of help from the league to get into the playoffs, but I do think we'll still be alive. Week 18 for the playoffs, facing the Cincinnati Bengals at Cincinnati, and Cincinnati will probably be fighting for the playoff spot too. So I imagine this will probably be almost a mini playoff game in itself. And I think that this is going to be a big-time game. This is a rivalry game. But I think that the Browns win, but they don't get the help that they need. We're going to finish 9-8 in my opinion. It's going to be a disappointing season, but it will be a fun season. And we're going to be excited about what they're building for the future. And the Browns are going to be a team, in my opinion, that you're not really going to want to play. There will be an okay team, but a team that is going to be frisky and pesky, kind of like the Colts have been over the past few years.
I have us going into this game. Chances are we're going to get eliminated even if we win. but I believe that we lose this game, and I think it'll be by 10 points or so. Uh, I feel the Bengals will have a lot more on the line, and they will. This is when they start to get hot. You know, they're good late bloomers. They get hot at the right time. So I have us going 8-9 for the season and missing out on the playoffs.
I have us going 9-8 and missing out on the playoffs, but it would be for like help around the league didn't arrive. All right, let's move along with the Shamar Stewart news. One of the reasons that I have us actually beating the Cincinnati Bengals twice is because of the Shamar Stewart news. So the contracts are really locked up at this point, and Shamar Stewart is not happy with the contracts, and he says, quote, like he is not going to be playing until the contract is signed. He's not going to be practicing.
Yeah, they
I really don't know.
What have you been doing to stay locked in? And you know, there's only so much that can replicate on the field reps, but what have you been doing to make sure that you're actually locked in when you're out there, knowing that you can't do anything?
I still go to meetings. I still study my playbook, you know, take down the right notes, and then whenever I get some free time, I go out to train at Black Sheep.
Is it fair to say at this point that you will not step foot on the practice field in practice until you're signed?
Yes.
How badly do you want to be on the field?
Very bad. I mean, I've been doing this for most of my whole life, and then all of a sudden it's gone over something very simple to fix. It's kind of disappointing.
Have they given you any answers as to why they're choosing this year and you to set a new precedent?
If I really wanted to say, yeah, I can't say what I really want to say, but
Yeah, so this to me is a bigger story than it needs to be with the Cincinnati Bengals. And one thing that I feel like is different between the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals is they have really drafted at quarterback really well, the Cincinnati Bengals. And for all intents and purposes, they really should be a perennial threat with their talent. Like they have Jamar Chase, they have Hendrickson, they have Joe Burrow. I mean, that's to me is a top at least 4 quarterback, like in that first tier of which your Patrick Mahomes, your Lamar Jackson, your Joe Burrows, and your Josh Allen. Like that is tier 1, and then there's everybody else with a huge gap. So they really should be a playoff contender that is going deep and making Super Bowl runs, but because of the way that their ownership is seeming to be more interested in winning arguments rather than winning championships, to me, this is why they're always going to bungle things up, and they're not going to be a real legitimate championship contender team.
Yeah, basically they're being cheap, and that's all it is. They spent 46% of their cap space on 3 players on their offense when they had like the worst defense nearly. And really, there's rumors about him re-entering the draft, and as a Browns fan, I would love to see that. You know, I think this is going to be the downfall of the Bengals. I think, you know, if they make the playoffs, they're not going to go deep because of their defense. Their D-line is going to be absolutely horrendous because their left end retired on top of Trey saying that he's willing to sit out the entire year, and now their first round pick, who was supposed to be a replacement, he's saying that he's willing to re-enter the draft. Or he's not saying that he is, but it's rumored, and he's saying he's willing to not play. So I think this will be the downfall for the Bengals, and I think if this could get settled out, then they should be contending for an AFC championship, but with the way everything's playing out, they won't be.
What a wild turn of events. Like, I cannot imagine. Like, if this happens, this would literally be something that's never happened before as far as that I'm tracking. A player sitting out, and I think that this is only possible because of the NIL money. So, I mean, if you were like a top draft pick, why would you want to play for a cheap organization they're already telling you, when it comes time to contract 2, contract 3, this is your first round pick. It should be a 2-3 contract guy, like a 10-year person, and they're already trying to nickel and dime you off the rip, and it's not even like they're going to save that much money. So as a Browns fan, like, I am so pumped that this is happening. I'm so pumped that they're so cheap, because really Joe Burrow is a bad dude, and for all intents and purposes they should be fighting for an AFC championship literally every single year. And it's crazy how cheap they're being. Like, this is their championship window and they're blowing it, and I could not be happier. All right. Let's move on to this topic. We're going to go, should Shedeur Sanders start now or later? Chad Ochocinco says that he talked to some people, and it was later revealed that it was Denzel Ward, that Shedeur Sanders looked different. There's a difference when he throws the ball out there, spinning that ball. You hear me? So this is coming from Chad Ochocinco, saying that he looks really, really different. So, in your opinion, should the Cleveland Browns start Shedeur Sanders week 1, or should they hold out?
I think they should hold out. I am the biggest supporter of letting your rookies sit, and I think if you believe your guy is going to be the future of your franchise, then you should be able to sit him for a year. That's why Aaron Rodgers worked out so well, and I believe that's why Jordan Love is working out so well. I think it's a good idea to let him sit at least 10 weeks, and I believe that unless we have no other option, I think he should sit most of the year and be QB2, because he can learn a lot from Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco has a Super Bowl ring as a starter. And so I believe that we should let him sit until the later ends of the year, and then we should ease him in and let him get a few drives in, and then maybe he can start the last 2 games if we're not in playoff contention, or maybe if we are in playoff contention, depending on how well he's doing at practice. But I believe we should let him sit. How do you feel?
Yeah, see, I don't think that week 1 starter is what we're making it out to be. Like, that week 1 through week 6 or maybe 5 is like throwing them to the wolves, and it's almost like a trap and a setup. So outside of him being the Messiah, just like the second coming, I mean Patrick Mahomes didn't even start his rookie year. So outside of him being like that, like really special, and it's so undeniable, I think we should sit him minimum until the London week, coming back from the London week. But I'm not even in favor of, having your first game be against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Steelers. So really, if we can, I think we should hold out till the bye week. But my prediction is we're going to start him on that Sunday. So I think it's going to be Joe Flacco, and he's going to hold his job off until the Sunday against the Dolphins. And then I think it's going to be Sanders leading the way. I do think that Sanders has the most upside out of any QB in this room. But throwing him out there those first 5 weeks is a disservice to – that's going to be tough for Joe Flacco. That's going to be tough for Kenny Pickett. And especially I think it's going to be tough for a rookie who's still trying to learn a new offense. So to me, I'm rooting for them because I am a Sanders fan. I was a fan of him in Colorado. I'm a Browns fan above all of that. But I am rooting for his success long-term, and I think the best long-term success for both the Cleveland Browns and for Sanders is for him minimum to wait until the bye week. To me, that's probably the best case scenario for Sanders. All right, let's play a little game to finish things off. Would you rather have the Cleveland Browns defense or whoever? So we're going to start off with the Cleveland Browns defense or the Broncos. By the way, is this all time or is this year?
This year. I think so. Last year, the Broncos had the best defense in the NFL, and they had the Defensive Player of the Year, Patrick Surtain, which congrats to him. I don't know the last time a corner won it. I thought it was starting to turn into a defensive lineman stat, kind of like MVP. But I believe the Broncos added a lot of firepower on defense. I think this will still be the best defense in the NFL. So I would take the Broncos defense over Cleveland's.
All right, I'm going to take Cleveland here. I think that with the addition of Mason Graham and Schlesinger, the Browns just 1 year ago had the best defense like since the 70s. So I think we're going to get back to that, especially D tackle. We haven't had a good D tackle in a decade. All right, Cleveland Browns defense or the Cincinnati Bengals?
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Cleveland or the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I'm gonna make some Pittsburgh Steelers people mad, but I'm gonna take Cleveland. We've got the better D line, we've got the better linebackers, assuming you have Watt as a D lineman, and we've got the better secondary. And now it's just a step over, but that's still a big step. So I take Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't think Pittsburgh is better at any level. I don't think their secondary is better. I don't think their linebackers are better. I don't think their D-line is better. Maybe I don't think it's a question of who the better player is, Miles or TJ. But if you want to say TJ, like whatever, I don't think that it's even close. But if you want to say that their top end players are better, sure. But like everybody else, I don't think it's even close. All right, the Cleveland Browns or New York Giants?
The New York Giants are going to be a sleeper team this year. Their front seven is disgustingly scary. They've got Sexy Dexy. I love him. I think he was in contender of being the depoy, but they're going to be hard to run against. I know that for sure. But their secondary isn't quite as well, so I give the edge to Cleveland.
Me too. Cleveland Browns or the Baltimore Ravens?
Now I am going to take Cleveland over them because I feel that our secondary is better and our linebackers. I'll give the linebackers to Baltimore. They've got some dogs over there, but our D line and our secondary is better. So I'd rather have us.
Yeah, so I think I picked everyone. I picked Cleveland over everyone because I think we're going to get back to that 2023 form. And I think that the reason that we're going to be in the playoff hunt late in the season is not going to be because of our offense. And the reason I think we're going to miss the playoffs is because of our offensive inconsistency. But I think our defense is going to keep us in a lot of games. And we're going to steal her up the schedule. But that is going to be it for this time, you guys. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow us on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. We're going to be uploading every single day. We're going to start going live as well. But for now, we're just uploading the daily videos. But that's going to be it for this time. Peace, love, prosperity, God first. God bless.
Peace.